Hello, welcome back everybody. Hope you are looking forward to getting some more programming done for the Godot 4.0 beta. Today, I already have chat already set up so I can actually see people if they end up talking to me. Yay. We will be looking at a couple of specific issues. We are going to look at them here in a moment. So there's this issue here, and my own GDScript issue that is a work in progress, or my actually pull request. Here we go. This one, which has an issue where you can't export type names from other languages. There's no mechanism in which to do that. So this is going to be this is the main priority. And then if we finish this, I'm thinking of going into this one, which is split class name responsibility into two keywords. We're not going to do two keywords exactly. We're just going to have the one keyword still, but we'll change because it's a 4.0 release. We'll be able to change the baseline functionality, right? We can do backward breaking changes. So this is the one time in which to really do that. So we're going to add an annotation to it to allow it to be made visible in the editor. The original suggestion was to use editor, but someone else commented that they thought it would be confusing. Yeah, here, editor is way too easy to confuse with @tool. So I actually agree with that sentiment. So I think when I initially put up the PR, I'm probably going to suggest it to just reuse the export annotation, and you would just use export on your class name to say, hey, I'm exporting it to the engine, to the class, right? It's sorry, rather to the editor. Because it's the same thing you do with your properties if you want them to be visible in the inspector and that kind of stuff. So we are going to go in that direction. And then if we do manage to implement both of those features within the time allotted, then the next focus will be on putting together this global annotation thing, which is kind of a tweak on it. It's not quite this, but it accomplishes a similar goal. They basically just want you to be able to add to the global namespace of the GDScript language and make certain other like identifiers be accessible. So you don't have to do a class name and then get it through that global type, right? Because this is if you say this, what you're really accessing is the script resource, and you're using it as a namespace in order to access its class level or its class level members, which are really just things that are associated with the script and not instances of objects that have the script. So things like an inner class or an enum declaration or a constant or a static method, those are all things that you can access from the script and not from instances of the script. And so that's, we're basically saying rather than you having to go through the class name to get it, it'll just essentially create aliases for all of those things in the global namespace, provided you have an @global annotation at the top of your file. And then there would be some various caveats on that. And that's kind of all broken down in this other chain of messages for this issue or proposal. So that's what we're going to be going into today. Hope you guys are looking forward to seeing some C++ code. Start off with, I need to make sure that I've got the right copy of the code. Branch, let's see, was it GDRes, GDScript, I think, git checkout. GDRes, GDScript. Fetch, upstream master. Make sure we get an updated version of the code. Oh, and I believe there are some, I believe there is some stuff that's out of date now that I think about it with the, with my version of the pull request, the major 4.0 exportable resources pull request. Upstream master. So we get our master up to date, and then get checkout GDResBase. We'll reset hard. Master. And then we'll get each of the things in turn, GDScript, and rebase them to make sure they're all up to date. Get rebase master or GDRes base. Okay. Then get checkout GDRes inspector. Inspector. Hey, object, what's up? Let's see, get rebase master. How are things going? Or GDRes base. It's like the base branch that everything else kind of builds off of. There we go. We get our first conflicts. We made changes to the editor resource picker. Let's see here. Okay, so if that's all the same, this is inside of which function? So update resource. If edited resource is equal to ref resource empty. So if it's if it's an empty one. Otherwise, edited resource. Wait, so they changed a lot of stuff here. What did they change? If not edited resource get name is empty, sign button set text edit resource get name. Plus if edited resource get path is resource file, sign button set text edit resource get. Oh yeah, so it highlights. Obviously, I'm missing that it's highlighting the new stuff. We have get class here for assign button. Set to no, it would have been further up. Else assign button set text class name. Okay, I changed it to be set text, and then I also have this other stuff. What I'm confused about what actually changed here. Like, why did I end up with this conflict? Is there like a giant gap of space or something? Seems to be doing the same stuff. Is resource file assign button set text and resource file else, and then I get the class name get resource type edited resource, use the class name instead of edited resource get class. Yeah, and then I add in this other stuff. Oh, I guess it got confused thinking that this was a reference to a different line. That's what it seems like. Edited resource arrow. Yeah, it thinks that it's a reference to this bit. So that's why I thought there was a conflict. I don't think that's an issue though. We're just gonna go with that. Except if you complete these revisions before August 3rd, it will be in the beta. With regard to these, the exportable resources stuff is already established. It's going in the beta. They're going to make sure that that ends up in there. But the other things in the list that aren't so points 2 and 3, those are not features that have been set up yet. Feature 2, which is the segregating the functionality of script class, yeah, that's a breaking change. So if I'm going to do it, like, it needs to be done before August 3rd to get into the 4.0 beta. And then the last one, the third one, is a quality of life feature that could make things a lot more convenient. And so I would like to get it in before 4.0 if I can, but it's just kind of an extra thing if I'm able to do that. I really want it to be there because it would serve as the foundation for implementing extension methods in GDScript. And one of my secret desires, which I don't know if they would end up letting me do this, but I would like to be able to see extension methods actually implemented on a like multi-language level scale, so that because they already have a mechanism by which you're tracking, method definitions now, and you can segregate the content of a function from the declaration / definition, of the function. Like the content of the function is separate from the fact that the method exists and what its arguments are and that kind of stuff. So in theory, you can just have a centralized database of all these extension methods that are implemented from different sources like C++ code and C# and GDScript and whatever. And if you associate it with various classes, then object could just incorporate that stuff into part of the things it looks up when it's determining whether it technically implements some function. So it would help LSP too, right? I'm forgetting LSP. LSP development code. I don't know. Is this for like C++? I'm thinking. Oh, language service protocol. Yeah. I'm not really sure how much it would help LSP necessarily, because it's kind of. I wouldn't think it's really all that related, because LSP is just going to be saying, hey, object, do you have this method? And the C++ code would just be changing how it determines whether or not it has the method. Language analyzer. Yeah. As far as it goes, like it would query Godot and ask, hey, is this method a thing that can be called on this type? And you would be able to expand upon that in theory. I don't exactly know how LSP is implemented necessarily. I know of it, but I don't really know the details about it. I would assume it doesn't actually require a Godot instance to do its thing. Maybe I wouldn't think so though. Like you should be. It would have to probably just figure out whether the class has the ability to do the stuff. I don't know. Like they might have to update the GDScript, VS Code plugin or something in order to accommodate checking for that. But I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, because like if you have the scripting API and you ask some object in core, hey, do you have this method? Whether or not it's implemented as an extension method would be abstracted away to the object internals. So I wouldn't think that it would be something that any external APIs would really care about. So where you run the binary, Godot has LSP server integrated into binary. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it does query Godot. Yeah, in which case it would all be abstracted around or away. Like you wouldn't have LSP need to make any changes to determine it. It would just be handled internally by Godot with the way that I'm envisioning it. But also, they might not really like that idea. So I don't know if that'll actually be a feature. That would be for like a 4.1 or something. If we ended up doing that right now, I'm just trying to get the globalization of declarations in a GDScript to be set up as global namespace stuff within the GDScript language. And then later on, I would potentially be able to submit a proposal for building on top of that to add extension methods across all the different scripting languages and integrate it into the core. Separate thread, interprocess. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, moving along with this. Status, git rebase, continue. Git push. Let's see. Yeah, git push -f. There we go. Git checkout GDRes script. Make sure I push that. And then branch, we also have git checkout GDRes quick open. Git rebase. Actually, wait, git log. Go quick open to see scripted resources. Yeah, there's like that giant one. Gosh. Okay, git rebase GDRes base. I hope this doesn't like completely freak out. Please. Nope, we're gonna freak out a bit. All right. Okay, not so bad. I just have to figure out what needs to be changed. Okay, that I don't know what happened there. There we go. Get okay, so you just have to preserve both of these because they're separate methods. All right, that's fine. Cool. So in theory, that's fine. Get status, get rebase, continue. There we go. All right. And then push get status, get branch. What else? I had the C# stuff. I don't really know if I need to update that anymore though. And I guess I will, but apparently the C# stuff is just going to work totally differently anyway. So don't really know if I need that. Check out GDRes C#. I don't really think this will be relevant, but just in case somebody wants it, I'll go ahead and rebase and push it. Cool. All right, push. I don't think I'll actually include it in the mono project, maybe. I don't know. Okay, maybe I will for now. Until they actually merge .NET 6 into the code base, I'll keep up the C# mono stuff so that people can continue testing this branch with it. Yeah. Check out. All right. So what are my branches again? Get GDRes all 4.0. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, get check out GDRes all 4.0. File system. GDRes file system. What was that? It's file system. I think that was just like a version of the other guy's changes that I had made, which I already have incorporated into the quick open branch, so I don't think I need that. Okay. Making sure. GDRes all 4.0. We'll reset this. Git reset hard to GDRes base. Then do git merge GDRes GDScript. Git merge GDRes inspector. Git merge GDRes quick open. And git merge GDRes C#. Okay, git push. Okay, so now let's make sure we have a build. Consp equals Windows -J6 of module mono enabled equals yes, mono glue is no. Okay, so that'll get us our baseline build with which to generate the mono glue and then rebuild the engine with the generated mono bindings. And then we'll be able to start working on the code. I guess before it's actually done though, we can already kind of dive into where things are problematic. So we will be in the GDScript language, GDScript, and I mentioned where the issue was. Find my browser. Here we go. I never got a response from VNen about like what he actually wants me to do here. So I'm like, eh. I mean, if we didn't want to lose backward compatibility, then you'd have the option of passing a string in here for a given type of resource, and then it would go with checking that. Whoops, sorry, my phone going. Oh, and apparently my wife will be soon. Let's see. Sorry, give me one moment. All right. Okay. At some point, somewhat soon, my wife is going to be stopping by, and all my dogs are going to be freaking out. So I'm going to see if I can mute when that happens, and I'll probably be like a couple minutes at that point, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something, maybe. But then I'll be back. Okay. Might be in like 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. Okay. So I didn't get feedback from him about how he actually wanted me to solve this issue of GDScript not having a syntactic ability to export something that is not a GDScript type, because you have to statically type all of your exports in order for the export to know what data type it's exporting, because it doesn't let you do the dynamic syntax that used to be in 3.x. And of course, you don't have global identifiers in GDScript for things that aren't from GDScript. So that's problematic. I would guess that we should have this kind of functionality, and then potentially this functionality later if you generated global variables for the non-GDScript stuff. Now, if the .NET 6 stuff is or when the .NET 6 stuff is merged in, then C# would no longer be a global script class, so I can't really rely on this anyway. You'd have to use like a visual script or something as a good example. But for the purposes of this, experimentation, C# is just another kind of script, so I can use it for testing. We're at 25%. Okay. So I need to figure out how to handle this, and the issue was in GDScript Analyzer, resolve data type. So we were in GDScript Analyzer in the resolve data type function. And when it's trying to evaluate what the data type of the thing is, we just don't have the necessary information because it doesn't assign it the right type. And what was it? And it does get parser for has a couple of places where it does this, it looks like. Classes in current scope versus is global class, and an else if for has autoload and autoload dot is singleton. Interesting. Okay. Could not parse singleton first from autoload path. GDScript parser reference. So that's just for processing singletons. That's not a use case though. Our case is here is global class. So parser script path is equal to get global class path. I think this is saying if the script that you are evaluating is this type, right? Yeah, if the whatever first is, right, that's going to be the chain of types that you're evaluating, I'm assuming first. Type chain 0 name, yeah. So whatever data type you're statically typing on the thing, you're trying to figure out what the type name is, and if you have, if you're just referencing your own data type that you did like class name at the top, and then you're re-referencing that type as a exported static variable of some sort, that's what this case is checking here, where the parser's script path is the same as first get global class path, in which case you just get the data type of the head node, because that's going to be the class node for like representing the entire class for the script. Otherwise, you get the parser for some other script that's defined elsewhere. But this does not account for things that are not GDScript files. So we would need to have a way of saying, well, if something is a global class, but it's not a GDScript, right? Get parser for. So this would be cases where you're essentially oh wait, crap. No, I can't do that. Don't make changes to the file while it's compiling. That would be a bad idea. Oh, no, here we go. There was an error. Crap, what did I do? I have an error in my build, and I pushed it. Lovely. Object connect does not take 4 arguments. Wait, what? Oh yeah, because they made changes to the connect APIs, and they removed one of the arguments. So I'm guessing something I have in my version of the code introduced that issue. Okay, making sure I'm not missing something. Well, now I have to go check out what was going on there. GDRes, C#. Okay, and then in modules, mono signal awaiter utils. Mono. And then what? In mono signal awaiter utils. VJ. Where the heck is that? Listing item. Godot modules. Mono. Do I really want to be wasting my time like maintaining this when I know it's not going to be used? Oof. But I do want to test the GDScript ability to export a C# script. So I do kind of need this. Or I could just do Visual Script and like hard code the implementation temporarily to allow it to have global script classes. If like I have a test.vs, then it gets the name test or something like that. Mono, where was this utilities thing? Oh crap, I froze. Seems like I froze. There we go. Should have signal awaiters. CPP. I don't know why those like new. This takes in signal, callable, and flags. Signal, callable, flags. Yeah, so they took out this argument. That's the new thing that they did. All right, let's try and recompile it like this and see if there are any errors. Hopefully this shouldn't take quite as long, I wouldn't have thought. And ideally I can get it working without too much issue. Yeah, or Redoes made some sort of change to deprecate and remove the bind arguments for signal connections because they already changed how it all worked with the new callable and signal variant compatible types. And so now they're finally taking out that stuff, but then it consequently affects a bunch of other stuff, and I hadn't rebased to include those changes yet. But I don't really know why I didn't just automatically get the updated changes since I never made a change to this file. But I don't know why I don't have like the updated version of this file already. That's a little weird. Like the rebase should have just automatically figured that out, I would have thought. Alrighty. Compiling, come on. All right, well, let's get back to examining the other code, I guess. GDScript, analyzer. Okay, so we're going to need to add logic that checks for scripts or rather, so something that is a global class, but you'd have to explicitly check to see if it is GDScript file, in which case that would be something that the resource loader would need to determine. And then if the resource loader decides that it is a GDScript resource, then you funnel it through the rest. Otherwise, if it is if it's some other derived, or if it's some other type, then you'd have to check to make sure that it's a script type. And if it is, then you you set it up as a script data type. That's like the various GDScript parser data type. That's the different things that it can resolve to when you're evaluating the type. I don't quite know why they didn't account for that, but because there wasn't an active use case yet, probably. Because like VisualScript doesn't have global classes, C# didn't at the time either, but even then it's going to be refactored into becoming native classes essentially with GD extensions API, or with the GD extension API. So then the only thing that remains are scripting languages that are introduced through GD extension. So anything, the successor to plugin script, if you add things like Python or JavaScript or other scripting languages to the engine that aren't compiled, but are rather interpreted, now, if they end up defining the ability to have a global class for those scripts, you're going to need GDScript to be able to refer to those types and work with those types. And there isn't a case here that accounts for that, because it's either the current script or it's some other GDScript. And it's assuming it has to be a GDScript, and we can't make that assumption. Oh gosh, still an error? Really? So this would work with Rust too. Well, see, like I said, Rust is a compiled language. So the way that Rust bindings would be implemented, more than likely, is that you would set up Rust to compile and register new native types into the engine using the GD extension C API. So Rust as well won't even show up as a script. It'll just be a new native type. So that would then actually get caught in this earlier case of class exists for the class DB, and it would treat it like a native class. So it wouldn't even be a script anymore. It would be something you can attach a script to. So it's much more powerful, and it completely, you don't even have to worry about it now with global script classes. It's only things that can't really be compiled ahead of time that are interpreted, that are implemented as a script language via GD extension, that would need to worry about this kind of situation. As Python, JavaScript, other things like that. So what exactly am I doing here? Monomartial, literal suffix, illegal expression. Man, I don't want to worry about this stuff. Gosh dang it. I'm not familiar with this. GD monomartial. Okay. Why is this here? I need to regenerate the glue or something? Why is it giving me this error? Invalid literal suffix I. But it doesn't give me like a line number. Oh no, it does. 265. GD monomartial. Okay. Let's take a look. GD monomartial. Don't want to have to waste my time on this. Monomartial. Don't seem to see that. GD monomartial. Where was that error? Godot modules mono GD. Oh, here. Okay, GD mono marshal H and CPP. So it was talking about in .h in the corresponding .h file for mono GD mono marshal H here. Alrighty, what's the line 265 is the error they said? Or there's literally, okay. So it just doesn't know this syntax, doesn't compile with this syntax. Was this added in? Is this just a typo? Or I feel like this must have been done for a reason. Where's this? Okay, no, Godot Engine. Like, do you need to have that? C++ I suffix integer literal. If you have an I on the end, what does that signify? Is that a thing? No. Okay, so that seems like it was a typo. Did I do that? Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. That seems like it was just a typo that someone made somehow. What? Okay, that's weird. Try this one more time. What? Okay, so compiling. Come on, come on. There we go. Seems to be going. Yeah, there we go. We got through the mono stuff. Okay, so hopefully we should be good here. Or nope, we didn't. Use of undefined type editor paths. What? Okay, why are there's definitely something wrong here. There are tons of references to things that aren't defined. Like, is there something wrong with the commit history? Did I not like rebase properly or something? Git log. Let's make sure I have this right. Upstream master. Yeah. Merging in stuff. Yeah, I have no idea why. Like, my change should not have introduced those issues. Where's my Git? Well, now I need to see what the error was again. Undefined type editor paths. Editor plugin.h. No, it's an editor internal calls, CPP 192. Note, see declaration of editor paths. Yeah, singleton identifier not found at 192 editor. Mono editor, editor internal calls. Okay. In a CPP file. Mono editor. Editor internal calls. Okay. Yeah, okay. Editor internal calls. Yeah, it really shouldn't be there. Like, we should have a new folder, right? Filter, editor, and then you put editor internal calls there. There you go. I had some like other thing. GD mono, yeah. Add filter GD mono. Put the GD mono in there. Okay, anyway. Here, editor internal calls, and it's saying that it doesn't know at 192 about editor paths. Get singleton. Okay, so where does editor paths get defined? Editor paths. Editor paths.h. Okay. Which is located at editor paths. So then we need to make sure we include that. editor paths. I feel like there's tons of random stuff just missing from this build for like no reason at all. Yeah, it's just merging various pull requests and somehow stuff is getting lost in the process, so they don't really have valid builds at the moment. At least that's what it seems like. Man, delaying my work for like 30 minutes just because of random compilation issues. That's annoying. All right. Okay, so we'll need to check that the type is that. I need to know how to actually structure the correct GDScript data type representation if it is a non-GDScript global class script. So how do I handle that use case? Because I would have thought it would be evaluated as, like if you declare a const and you preload the script and then you define a variable that is the type of that script, you can do that with static typing even if it's not a global script class. But I don't know what GDScript parser data type it evaluates to in that case. So I'll have to determine that. I think it would become script, because they do class for GDScript stuff and then script for non-GDScript things, I believe. Right, so then I should be able to find all references to the script. Script. There. That's just for a GDScript object though. Do they have something for just a script? Get parser script path else. Wait, no, that's for if. Okay, yeah, here. If GDS is valid. So the script, if it's GDScript else, result.kind is data type script, right? And that's all they do. They don't set anything else with it. Result.kind. Result.native type is scr get instance base type. Okay, so they do set the native type on it. Is this in the same method? No, type from variant. Okay, it's similar. Yeah, type from variant. Oh, I should probably just use this method. Okay. I would guess, or do they call resolve data type in here? Because that we wouldn't want a recursive operation. I don't see them calling it though. Yeah, resolve data type doesn't seem to happen here. So you could just use type from variant in the other method when you have a script, theoretically. Script type equals, as long as the script is active, you get the actual script reference here. You get the path to the script there, and then set the kind of native type. I mean, I could just do that on my own. Type from variant. Yeah, but see, I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to actually load the script in order to do that necessarily. I mean, in theory, it's already been loaded by the thing, right? Yeah, like if the type is the name of some script or something. Well, in our use case, we're only concerned about global script classes. So it would be already loaded as a global script class. Okay. So I think we can just take this approach then. Type from variant. Because if it's already a global script class, then you can just load the global script class, no problem, in the GDScript language, because all of the global script classes are declared as variants. So their scripts are loaded at all times in the GDScript language singleton. I mean, I could also just load it explicitly based on the name. That's probably what I'll do. Yeah, because you'd have to determine what the type is, and you can use the editor to figure that out, right? This is the GDScript analyzer, so you can use editor context in here, right? Do we have editor? Oh no, there are no editor references. Are there editor? No, we don't make any reference to editor, so I guess we don't necessarily want to do that. Yeah, you would just have to either load the script and then call type from variant, or you would iterate over all the global script classes to determine it. I think we should just load it though, tentatively. Is it done compiling yet? No, not yet, but it is going. That's good. All right. Yeah. Type from metatype, type from property. Interesting. They have other type from things. Const fold dictionary. Const folder. Huh. This is an interesting class to look at. It's all this. What do I mean? Identifier. This expression. Like subscript. Is that like having an inner class? Is that kind of what it's getting at? Subscript node. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is. Interesting though. Reduce preload. Yeah. Figuring out like what the types of everything are. Okay, where was the actual code that I was trying to mess with? Right? Parser for. Parser for. Reduce identifier. Make global class meta type. Wait, what is this? Huh? Make global class meta type. Could not find script for class. Variant. What? Do they use this method anywhere? Interface solved. Could not resolve class because of a parser error. That seems like an assumption. Like again, a GDScript assumption. Kind is class. Yeah, they're assuming it's a GDScript. Yeah, global class native base is constant. Okay. The question is, do they actually use that anywhere? Make global, actually no. Yeah, or that's a public method. I should probably keep results and then we can find where this is used. That's declaration, or definition rather. Is global class. Oh, wait, yeah. So they're checking if it is a global class, and then if so, set data type, make global class meta type. Okay. So they have a meta type node that they use, or sorry, returns a data type, not a node. GScript parser node. So, okay, and then this is the declaration. Yeah. So they only use it in that one place. But this is how they define. This is what they use to create a data type that represents a GDScript class and use it for static type checks without fully evaluating the script. I'm guessing, right? They can kind of postpone the evaluation until all the dependencies have been evaluated. and then conclude the evaluations, despite the circular references. So they use that data type in the meantime, which they determine there for P identifier, which is being defined for reduce identifier. Okay, which means, yeah, so here they have native meta type. All we would need is another global class meta type, or actually you would just need to make a change to this method then, right? To allow non-GDScript types to be the things. And why/when is resolve data type used versus this method, reduce identifier? So reduce identifier determines the initial data type, and then resolve data type does what? Resolve data type. Because I thought it produces a data type as well when you're given a type node. Like, what is the relationship between reduce identifier and resolve data type? Keep these results again, and then I want to find the resolve data type references. Resolve data type has a lot of references. Container type, this is inside resolve class interface. I'm looking up here where we have the context of what function we're in. The resolve node, resolve function signature. They use resolve data type in those places. But they only use the meta type stuff for resolve identifier, which then I'm guessing resolve identifier is used in these kinds of situations, I would think, for you have like type hints and stuff. Because if you did resolve identifier, let's see, resolve data type, the return type node. To see that you use a type node anytime you need to determine the data type. So why would you, like, if you already have a type node because you've like parsed information about what the type is, then why do you need to make the meta type for the type? Oh, I guess that's to handle things intermittently, or like until you have the full type node, you can make use of the intermediate meta type. And they have to add meta types for classes as well, like native types, because GD extensions are a thing now. So you can have the list of core C++ or core native types be updated at runtime. It's not just hard coded into the engine anymore. You can actually, change which core types exist. So in that case, that makes sense then. So then resolve data type would, in theory, be evaluating one of those meta types when determining whether something is a specific type or not. At least I would think so. Because you'd have some type node be created. Okay, is this thing done yet? No, not yet. The first compilation always takes a long time. Like after you've made a big change to the engine, like recompiling everything takes a while. Even with running 6 cores on it, which is what I'm doing. But it's almost finished. Thank goodness. And then once I confirm that that actually works, I'll be able to push it and rebuild the GDScript all 4.0 and then push that and have that be rebuilt. Yay. That should be faster though, I would think, or at least I would hope so. If a lot of the stuff is largely compiled already. Okay. So yeah, the question comes down to like, do I need to modify both resolve data type and making the meta types, like, or do you need, the calculation of meta types for scripts that aren't GDScript and native types? Because I don't think it accounts for that. So it doesn't allow for the possibility of evaluating scripts that are not GDScript in that in the make global class meta type stuff. You look here. Yeah, they have make native meta type, make global class meta type. But if you look at the global class, meta type thing, it just sets, what is this, class type. It forces it to be, the parser head and script path. And then could not resolve class because of a parser error. For raise status, interface solved. And get parser for global class path. Which, yeah, so if you don't have this, could not find script class or script for class. So it couldn't figure out what it is. If you're calling this on it, then it's assumed that it's supposed to be some kind of script server or global script class. And because GDScript is the only language with global script classes at the moment, they don't account for other things. They just say, oh, well, if it is a global script class, then try to find the parser for it. Like they don't even handle the possibility that the script is from some other language, right? Like push error. You don't need to push an error if this path that you're examining isn't a GDScript. Okay, finally. All right. Git checkout master. Or no, sorry, git push. Yes, push F. Wait, no, git commit. I need to actually add this stuff. Random fixes in the git history. So I'll add that. Yeah, that's really weird. Git log. Yeah, that's weird. Git rebase dash I head tilde 2, or no, 3. And we will change the order of that. And then push that so that it will at least compile. And then git checkout GDRes all 4.0. Git status, or git log, sorry. I need to reset again. Git checkout GDRes base. Git, oh wait, no, sorry, git checkout GDRes all 4.0. Git reset hard GDRes base, because now that we've fixed stuff with the C#, we need to recreate our altogether branch. Reset hard GDRes base. Git merge GDRes GDScript. Git merge GDRes inspector. Merge GDRes quick open. And merge GDRes C#. Push. And now we can build this one more time. And then finally, we can resume the development of this thing after we get this built with the mono bindings. And ideally, this will move a little bit faster than the last one. Ideally. Gosh. I kind of wonder if maybe the compilation slows down due to streaming. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm ideally with streaming, you would just be using a lot of your GPU and network traffic, and not so much the CPU as intense as intensity. At least I would hope so. Okay. Surprised my wife isn't here yet, so I'm like, oh, I thought she was gonna show up and make the dogs all bark, but I guess not. Hmm. Hello, Impacto something. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. We are waiting to finish recompiling the code because we're trying to rebase our the exportable resources branch to make sure we can test stuff. To see if we can get GDScript exporting non-GDScript types successfully, because it doesn't really have a syntax to support that. And but in the process of trying to get the branch set up right, I ran into a whole bunch of other like random errors in the Git history from the master branch, so had to add random fixes to crap. And it's just the nature of the beast on a bleeding edge in development build. So this will finish recompiling, and then I can use it to generate all of the mono bindings, and then I'll recompile with the bindings, and then we'll be good to go for actually making changes to the rest of the engine, like the GDScript part and stuff like that. So how are things going with you? You excited about Godot 4.0 beta? I'm assuming so, since you're watching the stream. Or maybe you're not very familiar with C++ stuff and interested in getting a first-hand look how it works in Godot Engine. I just stepped out for a second earlier to use to get some coffee, but using last alpha and getting double exported variables in editor. So yeah, I heard that was an issue in the runtime scene tree. I believe, like if you're looking at the runtime scene tree, then it shows all the exported properties twice. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that stuff or the issues around it, but I mean, it sounds to me like it's some sort of serialization issue. Because it doesn't do that in the inspector, which just iterates over all the properties once. So it would have something to do with the way the data is being sent over to the remote inspector, I would think. not getting newly added exports. Yeah. Yeah, because if it's only the remote scene tree, then either there's some bug in the remote scene tree inspector that's not properly, iterating over the properties in the property list. That's like different from the regular inspector, or it would have some issue related to the serialization of the data being sent over the network socket from one Godot process to the remote Godot process, which is like, because that's where the remote scene tree is. You're inspecting properties from objects in a scene tree that's present in a different process. So it has to communicate with that second process through a network protocol on a socket. And I'm guessing there's some sort of error that results in duplicated data during that process. So I have no idea. I have zero experience with that stuff. I'd have to look into a lot of different things to really start figuring that out and diagnosing it. But I mean, that's a significant bug. They're going to get that fixed, during the beta period. I'm more concerned about, getting last minute new features in before they do feature freeze, which is why we're doing all this stuff. And thankfully, I actually have a little bit of time this weekend. So even beyond just this stream period until like I have another hour and a half ish that I can do the stream before I have to stop to take care of stuff at home. But ideally, I'll have additional time to work on this stuff like later on tonight or tomorrow before I have to start work during the weekdays and find it much more difficult to actually have time to try and finish things before August 3rd. Yeah. Alrighty. So, okay, so I guess while that's compiling, I'm just going to kind of work out a plan of action so we're not just kind of twiddling our thumbs. There we go. You can do this. Thanks. I appreciate it. Let's see here. All right, so for the exportable script types, we need to check whatever. I don't know why it's doing that. Resolve data type, and then we'll need make, what was it, global class meta type? I believe it was. Make global class meta type, yeah. Global class meta type, account for non-GDScript, account for non-GDScript global classes. In this method, it's assumed to be a global class, so you don't need to explicitly check that it is a global class, but you do need to check that it's a GDScript script or not. Then, I mean, if I fix those, then in theory, I would just be able to change which identifier I'm providing. Oh, which means you would need to generate global variables for those scripts. Global variables, which will help us inform how to do the global stuff for the second topic if we get to it. For non-GDScript global classes. Okay, so assuming that's going, so that's still not done. So then, yeah, let's double check how the GDScript language does the global variables and utility functions and stuff like that. So utility functions, that's a thing right there. Interesting. Do they not have, what is all this? Validate arg count arg in functions definition. Oh, so here's where they actually implement the functions: convert, type exists, stir, range. Okay. Do they follow a yeah, it seems like they follow a consistent signature. They're all void returning functions that take in a variant reference as the return type, an array of variant instances as the arguments, an array of variant references. And then the number of arguments plus whether there was an error that occurred during the process. Okay, so then I'm guessing all of the functions probably match that format and do their own like explicit type checks for the arrays. Yeah, and so as long as they match the same format, they can just call it however they want, and they use validate arg count to generate the error messages when you call one of these functions with the wrong number of arguments. That makes sense. Inst to dict, dict to inst. And then color 8, print debug. Yeah, okay. Stack, get stack, len. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so then, okay, here we go. Functions function pointer. This is where, yeah, they've defined the data type that is the signature that all of those functions share. Okay. Callable, call error. Okay, yeah. And they set it to null pointer. They have some method info that describes the method's information as far as how it's exposed to the scripting API. And then is constant false. I'm not really sure what that would be for, but the GDScript utility function info maintained in a static ordered hash implementation, hash table. They use open addressing with Robinhood hashing. Okay, but so it's a hash map, okay, essentially. List string name, the name table. So if you just want to go over all the names, you have them here for efficiency. And then if you want to specifically look up one, give the string name there. Utility function name table, utility function table. Why is he called a table if it's just a list? Okay, whatever. Register function, yeah. And then they create various arguments for registering functions, and then they just define them all here, right? Yeah, that makes sense. And unregister functions where you just clear out the tables. And then all this stuff is just utilities to be used by the rest of the code base, or the rest of the GDScript stuff. Okay. So then those are the global functions. Where are the global entities and things like that, like singleton? All that stuff would be registered in the GDScript server. So there, I should be able to just look at the GDScript language implementation. So here's the declaration. I'm guessing, yeah, add global. Okay, let's keep that open. And then inspect this. Okay, we're here. Singleton. Add global. If globals, so they have a hash map of string name to int. Okay. Global array, which is a giant vector of variance. Right, globals pname. Okay. What do they do when script classes are updated? Because naturally you would need to rebuild the set of globals, right? Add global constant, add named global constant. Named globals. Why wouldn't you have a named global? Aren't they all named? I mean, that they're passing both named globals as opposed to this is where you have a direct string name to variant rather than storing the variant in an array and then having hash map the string name to the integer that goes to the array. Okay, so why do they have both? Remove named global constant. I'm guessing this is for stuff that's either this is for things that never change and this is for things that like update, or or they do it like for other sorts of constants for whatever reason. Okay, core constants, get global constant name. And I want to peek at this. Get global constant count, docs constant name, constant value. Okay, where's that actually used then? Ah, no, I don't want to go over here. Whatever. Okay, so it is for like actual constants for like enums and stuff. Yeah. Or do they do other things that aren't just integer constants here? Class constant. Isn't this where they're defining a constant that's associated with a class? Or is it enum class type thing? Yeah, it's an enum class. Okay, so it's still just an enum. And it ends up getting mapped to a specific name. Okay. So this is, yeah, the global constants is just for storing the literal integral constant values. And then they add additional constants for math-related stuff. Populate native classes. They do add globals for all of the native types. Populate singletons, add global. They're doing add global again. Okay. When do they use that? That was literally all of it? What? When do they ever use this? And why? I forgot what I just got rid of. Oh well. Add names to virtual. It's literally never used? I guess it's just old or something? That's weird. In it. But global script classes, like that's gotta be something that changes, right? Get class list. Populate singleton. Okay, no. That's not where they've done. Oh, I bet they changed it to where they no longer store the classes as global variables anymore. That's probably the reason they changed that, which is probably better for performance too, I would bet. Dev is global class. Do they make a check like that anywhere? This is in update exports for GDScript. Tools enabled. Extends used. Could not resolve relative path for parent class. Else if extend size is not equal to 0. Get the first type it's extending. Get the path of the script if it's a global script class. So they're figuring out what the extends is for the GDScript. That's how they're doing this here. But this is in the actual GDScript class and not in the GDScript language singleton. Is this, where do they have something for GDScript language? They don't. Okay, it's not finding anything else. Interesting. Oh, seems like my wife is here. I'll be right back. Give me a second while I mute everything here. The heck? Did I do that? Or did my dog do that? Sorry about that. So you might hear some barking in the background, I don't know. But all right. She apparently didn't need my help with anything, which is not usually the case, so I am getting back to it. I'm guessing the build finished? Yeah, alright. So now bin Godot 64 mono generate mono glue for modules mono glue. So that should get the mono bindings generated. And then it can be rebuilt with the bindings, which that will definitely go much faster because it's already built all the dependencies. So it's really just getting the mono stuff incorporated into the modules subset of the build. Because it kind of splits it up into each of the major sections of the engine and only has to rebuild the part that wasn't really done, or that got updated rather. So now we can do the same thing as before, but say yes to this. Alrighty. Is it gonna go? Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, that's going a lot faster. All right. So where were we? We were trying to identify what happens when script classes are updated. And it doesn't seem like GDScript language actually does anything anymore, which is interesting. So then the question is, they still have the named globals bit in the thing, right? Named globals. I'm guessing this is specifically to be able to handle things that were added later on down the line that aren't part of the initialization. And if that's the case, then, because this would have been a legacy holdover from before, where they did add all of the types as global variables. But if they're now handling the evaluation of the types through the GDScript analyzer and that kind of stuff, then they no longer need to have all of the scripts just constantly loaded, which is better. They just maintain the parser information for all of them separately, so that they, whatever data they have, they don't need to maintain. They just need to keep a syntax tree, and metadata about the script, which is a bit more information, but not that much in comparison. Yeah, so that means we need to see where they're referencing named globals, if at all, as well as these methods, because they never use add named global constant anywhere. So then I'm guessing there's probably no references to this either, aside from stuff. Or no, they do. Is that right? No. It's just in these methods. Okay. The declaration of it. And then get named globals map, which I'm guessing this too does not get referenced anywhere. Yeah. Oh, never mind. They still have a bunch of code that's checking this. That's interesting. I did not expect that. It's like if they already refactored it to be useless, why did they bother incorporating it into the checks of things? I mean, I'm glad they did, because if that's still all kind of there and working, then I can use it when I do the second thing to like add an enum to the major stuff and map it to a specific script's enum declaration or something. Yeah. In which case, yeah, you would need to have a specific subset of, quote unquote, named globals that are scripts with that global attribute that we kind of theorized. There's things. This done. No, it had another error. Seriously? Okay, I'm kind of getting done with this. Really? Callable.h invariant. Like, why is it yet another? all is not a member of callable in callable glue CPP. This is just all stuff that's going to be broken due to their process of merging in the stuff from .NET 6. Like they're just not caring about the generated glue code anymore because it's all legacy, and there's no point maintaining it. So it's just going to be broken. Gosh dang it! All right. Well, you know what? That means we're just not going to handle the C# stuff for now because it's broken as heck. So if it's not going to be maintained, I'm completely wasting my time by trying to work around it. Like, I haven't really been able to do anything during this stream because of it. So yeah, no, that was a waste of time. Okay, what we got here? Branch C#. Just gonna git reset hard GDRes base, git merge GDRes GDScript, merge GDRes inspector, and merge GDRes quick open. That's all. We're not going to bother with the rest of it. Scons p equals windows -j6. Not going to do any work with mono. Just going to completely disregard it. And then in the meantime, I will figure out a solution that involves probably temporarily hard coding visual script to allow a particular script to be a global script class so that I can test it with visual script, or sorry, with GDScript. Because that's the only other way that I can really, get this kind of tested and working. So then we do named global. I don't think it would really be a good idea to have named globals for scripts that are defined in other languages, right? You really want to rely on the GDScript analyzer to just determine that type information without loading the script. So yeah, we're not going to implement it that way. And in order to test the GDScript exports in a altogether build with the GDRes all 4.0, I'm going to need to add like some temporary commits that are specific to hard coding that stuff with Visual Script. Okay. And then I also need to update my build arguments because these are all set up to work with mono, but we're not going to be doing that anymore. Debugging. No, enmake. So take out module mono enabled here and here and here as well. I think I put it, yeah. And then this is just going to be the regular non-mono version of Godot. Why? Okay. Lorena? No, dog. Shush. Hey, Lorena, stop. Come on, come here. You want to say hi to folks? Give people some doggo attention? Come on. There you go. There you go. He gets excited when he hears noise in other parts of the house because he thinks the other dogs are having fun without him. He doesn't like it. Yeah. Okay. Yes, dog, hi. Alrighty. So is it already done? Or close to being done? Yes, it's done. See? It was so much faster because mono wasn't involved. Finally, this is the content I tuned in for. I'm so sorry, man. I'm really so sorry. Alrighty. Oh, did you mean the dog? You meant the dog? I don't know. I know it lags behind a bit, so. Let's see. Now we need to actually get this going here. So let's git checkout GDScript-wide. This is my like in development branch that I use when testing this stuff out. Git checkout, not checkout, reset hard, GDRes all 4.0. Yes, you're a wonderful dog. Yeah. Mr. Laredo. Laredo. Hey there. Yeah. Hi. Well, okay, yeah. Hi there. Anytime I need an infusion of dopamine, I just lean back, get some love, get back to programming. Merge branch, quick open. Okay. So now we have our experimental space in which to do the work. Let me make sure I push an update to the GDResol branch first. Now that we actually have a version, running, git push f, and I'll just notify people that, sorry, C# will temporarily not work. Let me just go ahead and do that really quick, because people are gonna be like, wait, what? Where's my thing? Okay, pull requests and GDScript. Allow exporting custom resources. Here we go. FYI, C# is temporarily removed from this altogether build because of various inconsistent compiler errors I was getting that seem to be tied to the mono code not being up to date. Just going to wait. I'm just going to stop maintaining the, what is it that I had? Good at C#, right? 63126. C# support 63126. Since it will ultimately, or at least until advised otherwise, since the .NET 6 version will just convert them into native engine types using GD extension integrations, i.e. they won't need global script class support. Make sure we fix that. All right. Okay, make sure people are notified of that and then go back to the work. All right. Torpedo, shush. No, stop. All right, here we go. Git checkout GDScript-wide. What this would be, I guess it's fine to leave it at GDScript-wide. So, because I'll just cherry pick whatever the commits are to the GDScript feature. All right, so going back to what we were discussing, right? We had a couple of different scenarios. Step one was need Visual Script to at least be able to recognize some kind of Visual Script as a thing. So what was I going to do? Visual Script here, because I just need to be able to test it working with some other languages, global script classes. I don't really care necessarily that it's global class name, global class. Okay, so they don't have that. I don't necessarily care right now that, the Visual Script doesn't have, the global class stuff yet. Go to the definitions as well, because we need to modify this to actually override the stuff. We should have public functions, right? Because the original script language, right? Let's keep that open. Go here. Come on. Global class. Global. Oh, so everything has those. Okay, good to know. Not just GDScript. Get global class name. Right, so these two methods. That's what the scripting language has to implement. So here, we'll make sure that they implement those. They have default implementations here. We'll just change those. Where did they declare them? Underneath ref count and frame. Do they have a frame function? No. Ref count. Ref count. What other things? Profiling, get frame data. Yeah, okay, so next space would be here. Whoops. Okay. Virtual, right? And we're extending it, so it would be const override. And then we'll put the actual content in the other file for now. Then go to add register func and put it directly above that. Register func. Visual script language. Oh, whoops. Okay, and then this has to return true if handles global class type. Visual script, right? I think that's how you do that. And then here, say, in our case, we just, I'm just going to say everything does, and the name matches the name of the file, I guess. So I'll just have to name it with Pascal case, no big deal. So then string type or name is equal to ppath.getFile dot minus the extension. Why is this giving me an error? Oh, because you don't need the override on this segment, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. I was like, what? Let's see, get file. I don't need the extension though. I'm assuming they have a method to strip out the extension. Get file. I feel like this is probably something that they just is like should be really obvious if I was more familiar with the code base. I mean, I could do a split on the dot and just get the 0th element, but yikes, that there should be a better way to do that, right? Quote pointer. I feel like there's probably a better way to do it. Is valid substance. No. Hash get slice count with string splitter. That's probably the kind of thing we want to use with a character splitter. Yeah. Get slice on the dot 0 like that. There we go. And then if name is not equal to, or if name dot length, right? Or not, it would be is empty, right? Is empty. If not is empty, then return name. And for the base type, we'll just say that it's always equal to, splat, equal to object. I don't really, or no, reference, let's say reference. They'll all just default to reference and they'll have no icon path, and that's just it. Okay. So that'll be our temporary, hackish implementation of Visual Scripts scripting support, or global script class support. Hack VS global classes. Okay. Save. Okay. So now that we've done that, let's go to GDScript. We need to detect when the editor file system updates script classes, and then use that opportunity to register named constants, right? Oh, no, wait, we were going to, that's potentially for the second thing, for like data inside the global scripts, but that's a separate thing. For getting exported GDScripts to work, or getting exports for other script types in order to get that to work. We don't do that here. That's handled in the analyzer that we were looking at before. They have those different methods: resolve data type and generating the meta types. It was, I think, make global meta type, global class meta type. Yeah. Get parser for here. All right, so here we'll need to make the change here where you get the path, string path, and then they would use path there. But you also need resource loader get resource type. Is that right? String. Yeah. For the path. String resource type returning string. Yeah. File type is equal to that, and then if file type is equal to GDScript script get class static, then you do all this stuff, sure. Like all this. That's the case you handle when it's actually a GDScript. Else, it's not a GDScript. Did they change that? I thought else had to be on the same line. Yeah, it does. Why did my stuff do that? I should be like mimicking the built-in syntax formatting. Okay, whatever. Like whatever Godot prescribes is what Visual Studio should be enforcing. I don't know why that happened. Okay, so now, so option one was to load the script, wrap it in a variant, and then pass it to the type from variant function. It's a bad idea though, because the existing code does not force you to load the script. And we don't want to force loading of scripts for other languages either. So we need to take, let's see, they already have the class name. That's a plus. You don't have to look up the name from the path, which would have been really slow with the script server because it doesn't maintain a reverse lookup map like the editor does. And we don't want to make this code dependent on the editor necessarily, because it is conceivable that people would try to parse and compile GDScript files at runtime, because people do that. So you can't rely on editor code inside of this context exclusively. Like if you wrapped it in like editor checks, maybe you could, but it would always have to be stuff that like you have to allow the function to still operate correctly, even if you're not in the editor context. So like you would only ever do that for an optimization purpose if the editor were maintaining a cache of some sort that GDScript could leverage, which it does for that reverse lookup map. But still, you don't really want to do that. Because you don't want to have this code be written with the editor in mind. exclusively. So you'll need a solution that doesn't involve that. Okay, file type. So if you don't have that, then what is it? So type? Where's type being set up? Am I totally missing? Where is this? Oh, duh, here. Okay, yeah, I was totally missing it. They set it up there. We just have to do all the same type of stuff. It is a constant. It is a meta type, question mark? I guess so. Yeah, if we're doing it from this function, it would be a meta type. Wherever this function is called is trying to handle it in the context where it needs it to be a meta type, so I assume we set it to be true. Class type is something that would be an actual class, right? Which we don't do, because it's not a GDScript class. So that will be null. And then script path, yeah, that would just be the path that we got. Native type would be the global class native base, yep. Would be object. Kind would be script. And then GDScript parser annotated explicit. I'm guessing that's just based on the context. You would use this function when you're doing an explicit annotation for a static type hint, and you're giving an identifier. Then you're using this function. Yeah, that's the context of where this is relevant. We do need to make sure that the type in question is a data type that actually satisfies the requirements here. Let's see, get parser for, could not find script for class, could not resolve class. I mean, you would need to make sure that the script is valid, right? I mean, in theory, I guess that would be something that actually happens when you do need to evaluate it statically. So, I mean, in theory, you wouldn't need to worry about it. Or actually, if the script has an error, then it wouldn't be showing up in the script server. So you don't have to worry about that. Because when it updates the stuff, the script server wouldn't even register it if it couldn't be compiled, if it wasn't a valid reference when it tried to load it and parse it and figure it out. So don't have to worry about that. Anything else I would need to check though? Data type, I mean, I would need to make sure that the data type has a specific base type, but that's not really what we're doing here. We're just determining what the data type is, which you're already kind of doing. Yeah, so you need a reference to the script though, right? Like the script resource. Don't they have something like that? Class type, null pointer, which I wouldn't have to set here explicitly, but they do have script type, right? Which is an actual script, yes. Wait, so they do need you to assign a script resource? I don't know if you really need that. Crap. Yeah. I'll put a to do or a, hey, do I need to do this? Determine whether this actually needs to be assigned. Should we load other langs scripts? Not really sure that needs to be done. Yeah, for now, we'll leave that off, but we'll see if we can get by without it. File type. Okay, so I think for now that will do. Is there anything else we're missing? Built-in type is handled. Okay, maybe it's a little hard to see what I'm missing if it's at the top like that and obscuring everything. Okay, class type, enum type. Nope, it's not that stuff. Is constant coroutine set kind, which we've already got kind. Method info, it's not a method. Native type is already set. Script path, script type, type source. It's all already set. Okay, so we're good. That should be everything. So in theory, that's everything there. So now we need the resolve data type function. No, whoops. Resolve data type. Here. And there we go. If class exists, also if script server is global class. All right, here. So this is where we need to determine. You get the path, string path equals path. Then you have to do the same kind of check as before. Wait, that's a wrong space. You have to also get the type string file type to resource loader, get resource type, and then the path, and then if. Wait, no, file string. Is that right? No, get resource type, the path. Okay, yeah, that's right. And then if file type is equal to file type, GDScript, get class static. Then you do this stuff, then else. Don't do that. I don't know why you're doing that. File type, get class static, else. If it's some other script. Oh, that's what I forgot to do on the other thing. You have to make sure that whatever, well, no, like you don't need to check that it's something extending script. Like that should just be obvious by the fact that the script server determined that it was a valid script. So you don't need to check for that. File type. But you do need to figure out this result thing, right? Yeah. You have to set all the information. Result.kind is equal to GDScript parser data type script. Because it was a global, if it's a global script class and it's definitely not a GDScript, then it's just a regular script. Yeah. I'm kind of debating whether you would need to do get resource type and compare it to GDScript, or if you just say get extension and compare the extent, that might be actually more performant. Because if you say get resource type, then it has to iterate over all the different like loaders and crap, right? I'm pretty sure. What is the resource type get? Isn't there like an extension or something? Recognize path. Get recognized extensions. Nah. Maybe, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. It still has to iterate over everything probably. ext, is there not a get recognized extensions for type? Recognized extensions for type. Yeah, it still iterates over all the loaders no matter what you do, dang. Yeah, I was trying to see if I could avoid having to do that, and there was like an easier way to check it. I guess actually I should, right? I should be able to just say GDScript language get singleton, and then it should have an extension, get extension, which you can then just compare against the path. Yeah, if you do this and say if path dot, or yeah, you just say string ext is equal to path dot get extension, and then compare equal to the extension, you're doing the same kind of check then without having to iterate over all the different types. Yeah, that's better. Because you're hard coding like what thing you're comparing against versus the resource loader where this is where you have a variable, type that you would be comparing against theoretically, or variable path or whatever. Here, we already know what we want to compare it to, so we don't actually need to iterate over all the loaders. We just need to see if it matches the GDScript language singleton's extension, which makes this more performant. Global class path, I can just, well, no, you do need the path, so you leave that, but then you have the extension. Yeah, that's better. I should do that for the other modification I made too. So I don't have to do that stuff again. The resource type thing isn't going to be a good idea. So first is p class name, file type, p ext extension, and then you would just do that instead. So if it is the GDScript language extension, then you do that. Otherwise, yeah, okay. That's going to make things easier. All right, let's back up here. Alrighty. So now we need to update all this information in the case that it's not a GDScript, right? Result dot. I feel like we're probably going to be using a lot of the same information we actually had down here, ideally, right? Like we should just be able to take a lot of this and move it up there. I mean, I'm sure it's not quite the same stuff based on the context, but it'll be similar at least. So what is this? 2 up, and then rename these to result. Okay, and then here, rather than this, it's first. Okay. So kind, yeah. Result. Don't think we mutate that. We don't need to. Yeah, they already set it up here, and they have the built-in type object. Yes. Okay. So we don't need to set the type source or the built-in type. That's already script. You get native type. And then the script type, again, I have that to do. Script path is equal to path, is constant is equal to true. Do you need that here? They say is constant is meta false on the container type. What about the other type? I don't see references to the other stuff. Do they set that information somewhere? Is meta type false? That makes sense, right? Because this is when they're actually evaluating the type, I would think. Script type. Oh, wait, here. What is this? If it's a constant. Oh, this is exactly the situation, right? If GDScript is valid, else initializer reduced value variant. And they set it as a script. So they assign a script to it. Wait, I'm confused. What? Member.constant. Are they making the assumption that the script is a GDScript? That doesn't make sense. Why would you assign script to be the thing, the variant? Because you don't, and then they have script equal to the script type. This is just a general script, not a GDScript. And you've already confirmed that member constant initializer reduced value is not a GDScript because it's not valid when you assign it to that. So why would you then again assign it that? I think that's a bug. This should just be script. Yeah, that's a bug, I think. Yeah. And they do assign it here. Member constant initializer expression node reduced value variant. So they actually fully evaluate whatever the thing is when they're composing the data type tree. Okay. In which case, that's what we need to be doing, is having the fully loaded type. Right? In theory, perhaps. Yeah, if they don't want it to be a type, then that's fine. But like, why would you get path? So all the other stuff makes sense, but this, like, do they need the thing to be a fully loaded script or not? Like, I don't know. I would assume you want it to be fully loaded so that when someone actually does like a dot on it to evaluate the script and access members on it, they have the script object and they're able to actually like query it for its interface and stuff. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and make it, yeah, because you will need to have the script loaded in order to do that kind of stuff. That makes sense. For the meta, you wouldn't want to do it, but for here you would, because this is when you're actually trying to evaluate the type. If it's not a meta. So result.isMeta type is meta or false. Member constant get data type dot is meta type. If it is a meta type, then they get the data type and set false, found true. Yeah, so this is where they resolve anything that was a meta data type. Yeah, okay. And they make sure that things are not meta anymore. Script, parser data type script, yes. Object, script path, native type. Yes, here. All right, so all this stuff. And I was doing it up here for global script class where you're doing the same thing. You're setting up all that same data. This is false. And then is constant should be true, like it is a constant in theory. It's not a mutable value. And then script type. So then here, I would just say resource loader load. And if it's a global class with a specific file, then it would be cached and you'd be able to look it up. Yeah, the type hint, which it should be some type of script. Okay, I think that will do it, question mark. See, this returns a ref resource, which should work, I think, when you're passing it. I'm pretty sure that would work. Okay. That seems like that would be the major pieces, right? Inside of resolve data type and the creation of the meta type. All right, and we hard-coded Visual Script to create global class names based on the name of the file. So if I create a Visual Script file, then it'll be a global script class. And then I need to export it in GDScript, which should theoretically work. All right. Oh, and I need to change what my demo project is. Properties, debugging, demo inspector resources, not mono. Okay, and then run it. I don't know how long this is going to take, but because I haven't built it in Visual Studio in a little bit. So hopefully it doesn't, it should just, run the things I told it, which I've already built locally for the most part. It should have fairly minimal changes it has to make in the rebuilding of the stuff. Well, okay. Redefinition of default argument. Oh, whoops. Yeah. That makes sense. Can't do that. sure I get chat up here. There we go. Like looking away from chat for a second. Building targets. All right. So, anyone in chat have any questions for what we're up to? I'm assuming it's not everyone's first ball game looking at some C++. Building. Yeah, see how it has a linking static library for core, modules, editor. Like it gets all the different pieces of the engine built up first, and then it binds all those static libraries together to create the final executable. So it has like segmented areas of the engine that, like if you make a change in one part of the engine, all it has to do is rebuild that part, unless another part has dependencies on the other stuff, right? So if you change core, then modules and editor will also need to be rebuilt. But if you just change modules or you just change editor, then it doesn't have to do that. Okay, Godot's coming up for me on the left screen. Come on, it's going real slowly. Real slowly. Alpha builds, man. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so this will look different from the previous ones because I'm using a different demo project that doesn't have all the mono stuff that I've been working in. So we're going to add folder for VS res, I guess, or VS. Yeah, we'll just say that. And then I'll make new script using Visual Script, inheriting from reference, which shouldn't matter because I'll just I'm not really going to be referencing that anyway, but I hard coded it to use reference. So, and then we'll have this be like what VS object or VS ref, right? Well, that's the type we'll call it. It'll have that exact name theoretically. We'll create a new script file. What? Why is it giving me an error? Invalid inherited parent name or path. Parent name reference. Can you not make a reference node or Visual Script? What? What? I had no idea that was a thing. What? Okay. Pardon me while I recompile the engine just so I can change my hard-coded string for the Visual Script type. Holy crap. What? Whoops. That's weird. I had no idea that was a limitation. That's weird. Hey, Qubit. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. See, now I don't know how long he's been there because I look on this screen over here that's like showing my stream settings and info and it says 0 concurrent viewers, like no active viewers right now. And yet there was a new comment. So someone came in, commented. I'm like, okay, when did that happen? Did I just completely miss it? Okay, yes, hi Laredo. You are getting under the desk. Been a year and you were gone. Yeah, I've been gone a while. I had lots of crazy stuff happen at work, and I basically like pulled a 180 at work, going from doing PHP web development and then all of a sudden going full on .NET development and learning .NET Core and ASP.NET Core for web apps and just making a ton of crap. So it was like an all hands on deck kind of thing. I just had to work really hard on that stuff for a while. And now I actually have a little bit of time on the weekends to explore other things and get back into Godot, hopefully. And I figured, hey, I can stream it while I'm at it. So yeah, I've been out of the Godot game for a little while. Alrighty, so VS, let's add our new script. It's a node and it works now. All right, so VS node, create. If I do say, can I save everything? All right, go to VS Codium and let's open recent to vector resources. I don't want to lose it. Wait, no, cancel. Just open another instance. Don't freaking don't remove the current one. I just want to get another window open. Alrighty. Let's just double check project.godot. Did we get our visual script in here? What? Something about my handles type is wrong. That's what it is. I modified the handles type and for whatever reason it's matching everything. Handles global class. Oh, because I returned a non-empty string as a boolean, so it's just true for everything. Man, come on, Will, come on. Visual script is equal to the type. Get class static equal to p type. All right, let's try this one more time. Yeah, I appreciate you being glad to see me doing well. I am glad that I'm doing well as well. I mean, it's definitely rough having to like this whole past like year and a half almost actually has been pretty intense. But I also learned a whole bunch, so that was cool. I've had a lot of improvement as a developer and getting more experience. And yeah, say hi to the doggy, Laredo. How you doing, huh? Yeah. Hi. He's like, yes, please keep rubbing me. Okay, I gotta move the Godot window, dog. Yes, I know. Hi. I did. No, there's no food. Sorry. You can't. No, you can't. Stop. It's like you know you're not allowed to get food from the table. All right, here we go. Godot. VS. All right, so now if I re-examine project.godot, there we go. Everything's GDScript, and this one's visual script. Excellent. All right. He wants to develop Godot too, yeah. He wants his dinner. That's what he wants. It's 4:30 right where I am, and he and all the other dogs get fed at 5 usually. So I don't know if you can hear them all, but they're all barking in the other parts of the house. Laredo, hey, shh, no. Why? No. Shush. Hey, calm down. You're like, it's dinner time. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yep. All the dogs freaking out wanting their dinner. Okay. Cool class name. Okay, so now we actually have visual script stuff. So we'll see if we can actually create a script and have it parse visual script properly. That's no longer a bug. Make unique is taken care of. Loading other languages is what we're testing. Getting C# to work, we've already figured that out, but it doesn't really matter anymore. And I, just fair warning, I don't have the visual script portion of this working. And I asked folks like, hey, are we going to add visual script support? And I haven't gotten any feedback yet on like how they actually want to do that, because Rita's told me I should ask, people who actually work with Visual Script how they want global class stuff to be set up in there, because I just like did it on my own in a willy-nilly way the last time I did it. So if they tell me what they want to do, and then we might end up getting it into the 4.0 beta at some point, but until then, I don't know. We might end up not having global classes in Visual Script until 4.1 if we never get a decision made on that. So hopefully we would have something for 4.0 though. All right, so other languages, exported properties. So now here's a question, moment of truth. Export var vs node as vs node equals null. Can I do that? Nope. Throw exception. All right. Get size on what? Inside of cow data. Get global class name. Oh, okay. All right. So I did not slice this properly, is what that's telling me. All right. Continue. Can I get this to just keep on going? Is there any way to? Nope. I just have to completely restart. All right. Awesome. I want to actually see what the data is when I am doing that. I mean, presumably it's just not transforming the string in the way that I'm expecting it to, but I would guess. Right, so ppath get file. I would think that that would give me the file plus the extension from the ppath. And this is going to be the full relative path to the file. So there would be a .vs on the end. If I say get slice, splitting on the dot, I have the 0th slot and the extension slot, so 0 and 1 is what I would have thought, but I mean, clearly that's not how it works. Okay, trying this again. Save the script first. All right, so now I go in here, same thing as before. Yes node as vs node. Null trigger. Wait, what? I didn't even get to my breakpoint. Why did it not stop at the breakpoint? Is ppath? Okay, yeah, vs node.vs as a string. Why did that not work? I shouldn't have had an exception thrown just from reaching the breakpoint. That's confusing. What if I set a breakpoint here? Like what? Okay. Just take this step by step. What? String file is equal to ppath.get file, right? Use string const. Ben CVP based project. What are your thoughts on the new Carbon language as a replacement or companion of CVP? So, I saw something that Redoes had commented on about that on Twitter. I think I tried to look at some code. I went to the GitHub kind of README on it to kind of see what it was about. I mean, I like the idea of developing an improved language that's designed around and mimicking C++ and compiling to the same functionality that C++ provides with a better syntax and more flexibility and stuff like that, I could see that being very, very good. But I don't see, like, they're probably not just gonna start porting Godot to it or something necessarily, like, or some other details like that. I mean, because people have talked about that, doing that sort of thing with Rust as well, and I'm like, well, they're definitely not gonna, they've been pretty clear that they have no plans to do that. They're not just gonna like swap out everything and go to a, go from C++ to Rust or something like that. Carbon is potentially a more compatible language, right? And you could more easily map one-to-one for doing that. But it would still be like a massive project. That would probably be like Godot 5 or Godot 6 type of like massive rewrite of the engine if you were to do that, where you'd probably like start, gradually introducing different pieces of it or something. I don't know. I just, whatever they did, you would have to incorporate it into the sconce build tool. There's a lot of nuances to that. I mean, as far as the language goes itself, I don't really know too much about the Carbon language, but it did seem like it had generics and stuff similar to C#, which I do now use a lot. And if it had more like functional first features and stuff like that, then I would be happy to use that too. But like as far as C++ is concerned, or as far as game development is concerned, right? It's extremely stateful. You're just going to be dealing with a lot of state. So even if you wanted to do a lot of like functional programming stuff and monads and all this like cool things, it's not really conducive to game development very well anyway, because of the way that high performance code has to be written. Like, anyway. Okay, so get file, and then we'll have, I think I'll say just get the slices, maybe? Slices file.slice, get slice. I'm gonna just do split for now, split on, you have to give a string. Okay, I guess I'm doing the dot. Allow empty true int max split equals, yeah, that's fine. String array, right? It produces a vector or something, or what? Packed string array, yeah, it's a vector of string. So packed string array of stir. I guess slots equals, and then I would ideally grab slots sub 0. Yeah. Oh, return name. That, might have been helpful to have the return case for, not actually returning anything. All right, anyway. No, wait, yeah, we're gonna set breakpoints at all these spots because we want to hit something. I don't know why it was like totally ignoring the breakpoint and just evaluating the stuff when we were clear. Oh wait, wow, I'm an idiot. No, stop. I know why. Build, cancel. It's because I didn't check that the base type thing was set. If our base type, then don't want to just assign something to the pointer when there's nothing there. Okay, that could have been the reason. Just possibly. Alrighty. I might even be able to push this out until 6 o'clock if the dogs aren't freaking out too much. So I don't have to stop in just 20 minutes. I would like to have this thing at least, operational before I have to finish the stream. So, okay, random question, right? If I did stop the stream, do things for home life, whatever, and then like do another stream later the same night just because I plan on coming back and doing more programming, Like, is that a good idea? I wouldn't have thought so because, if people just get these notifications that I'm streaming like randomly over and over again, I feel like I would feel inconsistent or weird, you know? I just didn't want to. I've kind of had this semi-routine now of, if I have time, then Saturday or Sunday from, what is it, from like noon, 1 or 2 o'clock until 5. That's Central Time because I'm in Texas, United States. Um, that's kind of when I was doing streams, but I don't want to, just suddenly start doing it at multiple times on the same weekend at different times if that's gonna like throw people off or something. Yes, it's really, really alpha currently to use, but if it does not get abandoned by Google, might be a good scripting language to start with. And like you said in Godot 5.6, yeah. Wait, scripting language. I mean, it wouldn't really be, if it's Carbon, right, then it wouldn't really be a scripting language because it compiles and it compiles to the native code. I mean, okay, yes, technically you could use it as a compiled scripting language because you're just, editing at runtime and you're not recompiling the whole engine. Now that they have GD extension, like the whole meaning of scripting language kind of changes with respect to Godot. It's like with, with what is it, Unreal Engine and their, C++ types. Anyway. All right, so go to our script, try to add it back in at export bar vs node equals null. All right, hey, we hit our breakpoint. Slots and the name, vs node. Cool, so that worked out correctly. And it's not empty, so it returns that. All right. So I'll turn those off now. Let's see if it works. Seems to work. All right. Let's see if we can get IntelliSense. VS Node, add a variable. Say, I don't know, health as type int, default value of 10, int unhint string export, yeah, x, yes, we're exporting it, close. All right, so if I do this and it's saved and I go back to my other script, here comes the question, export VS Node. Oh, wait, I'm exporting a node. I didn't even think about that. I'm not exporting a resource. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, didn't they add a feature that lets you do that? I thought they did, right? So if you're exporting a node, no, they're not letting you do it. I don't know if that's merged in yet or something. Like they said, they were trying to set up something so you could have static type checks on a node and reference it via the node path and that it would like figure everything out. I don't know if that's been merged yet, but I think that's coming for the beta, eventually for Godot 4. But yeah, I need this to not be a node. So question then is, am I capable of having this be a resource? Let's find out. Because earlier when I tried making a reference, I couldn't. So hopefully they will let me create a resource. If I hard code it as a resource, and now I think I can safely just access the slice C bit with .0. Yeah, I think I can do this now safely. Okay, that should fix all this stuff. If you do another stream later, it's okay. I mostly watch them when I can. Like it's currently 2:46 a.m. Whoa. So it might be a good time in some place to watch it an hour later. Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. I can reach a different audience if I'm doing it at a different time, right? So yeah, people who might not be able to watch the regular streams might be able to catch the later ones if I end up doing it again. All right. So make that change, and then the script itself, I need to modify in the GDScript file here. Yeah, wait, that was it. And yeah, go to, it was set in tile. Yeah, tile. Like this, VSRes, and the type name should be VSRes, and then we'll change the file name, VSRes, and then project.godot. Change this to be VSRes from the VSRes file, and base class is. See, I don't know if this actually works. Okay, no, let's just take this out for now. And we'll see what it does when I boot it back up. I mean, ideally it should rebuild the list, but I don't know if it'll, safely let me have the type extend a resource as opposed to something else. So, yeah. Oh, plus it might actually trigger some kind of bug with the visual script file at runtime, because I decided on the base type when I created the script, and it'll have an inconsistency now. Because as far as the serialized .vs file goes, it's still going to think that it's a node, and I've hard-coded its base class to be resource here, so I don't know exactly how that's going to mess things up. I mean, ideally, I can just modify the actual visual script type in the visual script editor, and then it won't have that problem anymore. They'll just save over the script information. Yeah, there you go. VSRes was not in the current scope, because it can't export it because the type doesn't exist. VSRes, okay, where's change base type? Here we go, node. We're gonna pick a resource. Yeah. Why wouldn't it let me pick reference before? It's letting me do it here, isn't it? I pick, oh, reference isn't a thing anymore. Duh. I'm an idiot. They changed it to ref counted, that was why. Okay, whatever. Alrighty, so now if I go to tile 2D, VSRes should all work. And if I, okay, wait, figure that out. Logs, stop working. No, shh, Laredo. Alrighty. Dang, dog scratched me up a bit. VSRes, okay, so if we can successfully parse this file and save it, then that should work. All right. Hey, no, stop. Calm down. So now we just need to see if I can assign a resource instance to it, right? Go here, new VSRes, internal error, failed to set a resource of a type. Oh, yeah, I never set, probably because edit resource picker only accepts VSRes and its derivatives. Wait, what? Failed to set a resource of the type resource because this editor resource picker only accepts VS. Wait, why did that fail? That doesn't make any sense. It is a VSRes. That's weird. Hey, health shows up twice. Okay, so it's not just in the remote inspector. That's fun. Lovely. Okay, well, I didn't introduce that bug, so um, not the thing I'm worried about right now. Why? So it has the property, but it doesn't display the name, and it doesn't have any way of verifying. Like, why did the editor resource picker have an issue with that? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, as far as GDScript is concerned, it's working, so that's cool. But also, what? So if I have this VS ready, right, and I say print vsres.health, right, that should work. It doesn't give me the syntax highlighting though, right? Oh no, it does. Look at that, health. So it actually is evaluating the script, grabbing the list of properties and adding it to the things that I can print, which this should, if saved, right, it would default, or not saved, but yeah, so I saved the scene. It's an inline embedded resource. It defaults to the value 10. So if I run the scene, it should print 10. However long it takes for it to do it. Okay, invalid get index health. Oh, okay. Interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with, wait, on base nil. Okay. So it has a null reference for vsres. Interesting. Even though my scene has an inline instance assigned. Yeah, crap. Dang it. Well, looks like that's a problem. And see, I don't know if that's necessarily tied to GDScript itself, not like properly extracting the information about what is in the data, or if it's something to do with the inspector and the editor not figuring things out because of other alpha based issues, or a third alternative is it has something to do with the bizarre way that I hard coded the visual script stuff. But that, I mean, that shouldn't have mattered. Yeah, like if I don't, what happens if I don't make it an exported property and I just have var vsres equal to null and save this in the scene, which then that'll make the property go away here. And then if I just say vsres is equal to vsres, oh, what? Is type compatible? Okay, wait, so what's going on here? Resource script class or script type get class name. Oh, so that's a thing. If is meta type script type get class name. That's why, because it was null. So you do have to have the loaded script there, no matter what, even in the meta context. Okay, maybe that was the reason that it wasn't working properly. Because we did not add that, did we? Script type, yeah, we left it as null pointer. So you do absolutely have to do resource loader load the path script. I thought I did do this line of code earlier, but that was for a different section, wasn't it? I think so. I think I did it in the other area, but not for that one. So that the meta type representation wasn't properly accounted for. And here, script, yeah, I did that part. Okay, that's what that was about. Let's see if things work now. So if the meta type actually has a script on it, then let's see if things work more as expected. So then if you have a script, then attempting to access the data of that property from the script should work. Yeah. that would be why accessing the health property failed. Because if you're trying to access it on a null reference, hey, we got null. That would be the reason, because there was no script. And if there's no script, then you're not properly saving, or you're not properly loading whatever variant is labeled as something that has a script. And then because it's not loaded properly, you have a null reference when you attempt to get the health index on that object. Right, because the whole object system is just a giant like chained hash maps of string to variant. Right, every property, every method, whatever you're trying to get is just I'm looking up a name in a hash table that corresponds to some variant. And then, if I fail that check, then I'm going to check for it in the next inheriting, class, or next inherited class, whatever, the base class. So it just keeps on going until it gets back up to object. And that's how that stuff works. vsres is equal to vsres dot new. What happens now? Crash. What exactly happened? Get method info for string name underscore init. Okay. Function. Wait. Get method info for underscore init. Incapacity index. Head element and tail element. So it's empty because there are no methods defined for the visual script. That seems more just like a bug in visual script. Like, it's not my fault that visual script doesn't know how to initialize its own objects. Is that like some bizarre bug, or is that I wouldn't think that was something I triggered somehow. Like hard coding the global script class shouldn't matter with regard to that. And all I did with the visual script was define the property, right? Added a property to it, and that was it. While base script is valid, resource, and base script is valid. Wait, you're literally just checking the same thing twice? Why are you doing that? Okay, whatever. That's in GDScript analyzer. I didn't do that. Okay. Not info. Get method info. So while the base script is valid, what? If found function not equal to null pointer, then do this. If E is constructor, which is true, yeah. Function name is equal to underscore init. It looks for the underscore init on the object. I assume visual script, has some mechanism for this. I don't really know what is going on there. Is there something related to underscore init here? No. They have a magic method for that? Like, what is going on? Continue, I guess? Like, what? All right, just stop execute. All right, well, I seem to have the change that allows GDScript to at least export other resources. So I fixed that, theoretically. All things being equal, I don't know why Visual Script is having that issue. All right, we're going to change the GDScript. Well, actually, no, so I think it should already be, yeah, it doesn't have it already. So let's just take that out for now. Yeah, we're going to take this stuff out because the demo project, I'm not going to have the Visual Script global class hack when I push these changes, but I need to I'm blinking. Oh, I need to build again. And then I need to make sure that I can create the, like, to rule out that it's, you know, anything related to Visual Script versus GDScript. I want to just see what happens if I, like, if I just try to create a visual script inside of the Visual Script language, like with a scene that has nothing but Visual Script stuff in it. Like, is it just a bug that they don't have a working constructor method anymore? Like, what happened there? Or is it something about the visual script that I saved is somehow not getting a constructor and others do? That could be a problem. So just let's just double check that the inability to construct a visual script is just a current bug until that is fixed. Error loading 2D scene. Okay. Whoops. Missing dependencies. What? I'm confused. Tile 2D right there. Huh? Why are you saying you can't find it? Urban terrain.gd. Right there. What happened? Very confused. All right, let's close these because we're not doing anything with them now. Let's have a standalone VS scene for node, I guess. VS test. Oh crap! My hard coding of stuff is gonna make it so that we generate a global class for this, and it'll have to be a resource, so I can't even test it properly. All right, I have to close this. Oh wow, you guys can't even see because I put it on another screen. I'm an idiot. Well, sorry. Visual Script. Come on, where's the code we had? CPP for, is it down here? Yes. We'll say unless it ends in node. If just do this, and if name. Okay, we'll move this up here and then put this here. That's probably a good idea anyway. Otherwise, you would just set to resource even if there was no like actual name for the file anyway. Then if name dot ends with, yeah, node. Else if. This is just a stupid hack again, and this won't stick around, but res. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. So now I'll actually be able to have, oh wait, increase the font size or scale the VS window so to the right. It goes under your comments side on the right. It's a bit difficult to see. Oh, whoops, dang. Yeah, I messed that up. Dang, I forgot all about that. Last time I did streams, I had bigger text. I forgot that. Thank you, Qubit. I'm sorry. Man, I went through a whole stream with people just having absolutely no ability to read what I was doing. I got the live chat thing this time versus top chat that like doesn't actually show me all the messages. But then I messed up the scaling of the font. Man. Okay. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna add scene with a node. And then we're going to define, we got vsres, we'll say a new node for vs node that extends node, right? And in theory, it should create a node for that, right? VS node, yeah, I can create it, all right? And then I want this to become the root. I guess not, no, let's just leave it like this. All right, so VS node, why is this not saved? Huh? Oh, the scene isn't saved, yeah. This is VS node dot, yeah, VS test dot tscn. Okay, that's fine. Now the VS node instance. So this doesn't have any properties. That's fine. I mean, so it creates this, right? If I run the scene, it instantiates it, I'm assuming. I'm guessing because it doesn't use, yeah, just doing that wouldn't make use of the instantiation. I think it's probably a GDScript bug where it's using underscore init to instantiate things, even if the object in question like isn't GDScript and isn't a native type, right? Yeah, I bet that's what's happening. Yep, I am pretty certain that's what's going on, which means if I go to my tile2D, so I need to open demo scene, tile2D, and if I add back in, I have var vs node is equal to vs node dot new. Why is it getting so laggy all of a sudden? Gonna hit the exception, and this happens because we're looking for the underscore init method, and it does this when you're where does it make the decision to get underscore init versus anything else? Function name, get function signature, p call function name new. So it's inside of this somewhere. There we go. If is constructor, yeah, this right here. Is constructor function name. This should only be the case if the function is the constructor for a GDScript. But if it's not a GDScript, then should you still be trying to call an underscore init function? I don't think so. Hello, Yvonne Von, is that right? Yvonne Von? Welcome to the stream. We're trying to debug exporting non-GDScript types. It's still the first item on the agenda for today, and yet it ended up taking so long. If p is constructor, r static equals true. So it looks for a static function of that type or something. Okay. Except that I don't have this in Visual Script, and it shouldn't expect to. Like, how do you handle things that aren't GDScript? Like, what if you called new on something that's a native type? Does it just not fall into that case, p base type? Or do the internal object types also supply a constructor function that's underscore init? Like, while found function is equal to null pointer and base class is not equal to null pointer. It does this. I wonder if that's something that was supposed to be present down here, because they just do both. Found function. No, there's got to be some reason. This has to be a bug. Like, there's no way. Method info is equal to if not info is equal to info. Return function signature from info. See, okay, method, but just because you request method info with a given name from Visual Script shouldn't mean that it just instantly fails. Like that doesn't make any sense. Get method info functions underscore init if funct funcID. Was this just like never initialized or something? Like, okay, functions. This should be something that's safe to do, right? Hash map, string name to function, and then function is just a struct with an ID initialized to -1. Okay. So if it's initialized to -1 and then providing underscore init actually finds something supposedly, but it's a number, or maybe it's probably just an unsigned or something. If funct.funcID is equal to -1, but we don't even get there though. It already has an exception thrown here for square brackets. If not exists, like why would you do that? If the method doesn't exist, you just throw already. Yeah, inside of has method or get method info. That's the problem, is that if it's get method info, then you need to first check has method. I guess that's the issue here, is we're calling get method info even if it doesn't have the method. Script is valid. Has. So first, I think this probably is just the error, is that this doubled thing here should have been base script has method function name. I bet that's the bug. So while it has the method, then you get it. You attempt to fetch the method info for the script. And then I'm guessing, so has method is checking it. That's the object API, so it'd be looking on the script. And since these are static methods, you wouldn't be checking inheritance hierarchies, which is why they have to manually go through each of the base scripts and check on each of them individually which one has this static method. They're like simulating inheritance on the various scripts because they've all got these static methods. Okay, I think that's the bug that has to be resolved there in order for the constructor to work properly. That's in the GDScript analyzer. Yeah, I have a feeling that's just something that was overlooked somehow. Yeah. And which it probably never came up because everything else either wasn't a script or was being tested as GDScript, right? So the analyzer was never having to evaluate things that weren't GDScript. Wait a second. Why is the GDScript analyzer reviewing base script on a visual script object? What? Okay, wait. That's a problem. That's a whole different issue. Why is this get function signature? Okay. Why was this being called on the... Is it because I know my thing was calling .new on a script? Is the base script talking about the data types script for whatever variable we were handling? That would make more sense. Where did base type come from? Right, p base type is passed in. You get the script type. Aha, yeah, okay, so it's getting the script. Okay, good. It's not just like running this on some visual script object. Okay. So it's getting the script type of the like data type that we're evaluating for the variable, and then iterating through all those things. That makes sense. All right, so now in theory, var vs node dot new, And it starts lagging like crazy the moment I do that. It's weird. But it's working. Okay. What if I do colon? That's working. Okay. What if I do vsres? It's res.new. That's working. All right. And if I say vsnode.queueFree, and then print vsres.health, that's working. And we had the auto completion, right? .health. Yes, that's working. Now let's see if I can run this. Non-existent function new in base Visual Script. Okay. I'm gonna leave that for something to vnen to decide on. Because as far as my thing is concerned, it's recognizing it as a visual script. It's, creating the stuff. Alternatively, right? Yeah. So then the alternative of that is, let me just say, okay, we have a VS node of type node first. We'll say, okay, so n. Here's how we'll do this. Say var n is node.new. Wait, what did I? Oh yeah, VS node. Okay. And then n.setScript VS node. Then var VS node is equal to n as VS node. Then assert, or actually, I guess I'll say print VS node. No, it should be is, yeah, just do an assert. I think VS node is not equal to null. Yeah. And then, or I could do the is instance valid, or is instance valid on VS node. Okay. Then var vs res. If you can't call .new, you just have to do it manually. Var r is equal to resource.new, which do with static typing. Let's do all this with static typing just to make sure. Okay, and then r.setScript vsres, which should instantiate all the, it should essentially do the default constructor, so it would do the same thing. And then var vsres is r as vsres. Man, that thing lags like crazy when I do that. Something nuts is going on with it, like having to evaluate something. The moment I did the visual script stuff, it like lags a ton. Okay, VS node queue free, VS res print. So let's see if that works. Hey, no errors. It worked. Nice. And we got the data printed. It duplicated it, right? Because there's that error with the resources in the inspector and stuff. So when you're calling it, the fact that it's printing twice there tells me that whatever that bug is, it's actually generating the list of properties twice. So it's not just the inspector's issue. It's that the object itself is, when you request the list of properties, it's giving the whole set of properties twice. So it's not a bug with the inspector. Stuck in the while loop ? No. Oh, with the lag. Maybe? I mean, I wouldn't have thought so. The only change I made was to check if if it has the method. But you have to have that, or else it, would throw an error when you try to get it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like the best way to test it would be like to get some before after how long it takes kind of thing, but I don't know exactly if that's when the error happens. No, because this is evaluating function signature, and the lag occurs anytime I'm doing an assignment operator to some variable and I start trying to do a cast to some type, right? To something as vsres or something as vsnode. That's when it was triggering, I think, if I recall correctly, right? So vsnode colon equals n as vsnode. So var vsnode colon equals, right here, it's getting laggy as. So the moment you do colon equals, it starts freaking out majorly. It doesn't seem to have a lot of lag here significantly. There's some lag, but it's not too bad. It's that colon equals. So what happens if you just do equals? Like, is that a problem? Var. All right, so it's already laggy. What? Var. vs node. Okay. I'm trying to go slowly and see if it's responding. Var vs node equals. Okay. When you do equals, it starts doing it too. Equals n as vsres. Wow, yeah, it's not. It's wow. Okay. So the moment you do an equal sign or a colon equals, that's when it's lagging a whole bunch. That's interesting. But hey, it's giving me the type error. Cool. All right. Incompatibility. So yeah, the static types are working even for things that aren't GDScript. That's good. That's what we wanted. So I think I have more or less solved the bugs. It's just that the .new doesn't really work for things that aren't GDScript, which that's a bug we can figure out later. So cool. I don't really care to figure out more details of that. I'd rather spend more time establishing the other feature that I'd like to get in before August 3rd and beta feature freeze. So I'm satisfied that we kind of got this detail sorted out. In which case I need to remove all traces of Visual Script from this stuff. Getting Visual Script to work is no longer an issue in practice, right? Known bugs. Creating instantiating manually, I guess like auto magically instantiating non-GDScript types with type name .new fails for non-GDScript types that don't have a new method. Yeah. Say this is not my problem though. Okay. Loading other languages scripts as exported properties. Nope, I already had that working with Visual Script. So yeah, confirmed. I'll just say none for now, and then confirmed able to export, instantiate, and perform static type checks with auto completion on non-GDScript global script classes. Yep. Alrighty. Oh wait, crap. No, I need to bring it back up and remove all the Visual Script types I defined, because I can't like repackage the project and push it with that because it's a hacked implementation. I'm not going to be keeping that in the build. So I want to take that stuff out. And unfortunately, I need to have the Godot editor open in order to actually have it, update the script class information and stuff. I mean, I guess I could do that manually again, but It's fine. All right, so I think I'm getting towards the end of where I'll have the stream currently. And I'll probably resume a little bit in like an hour or something, maybe 30, yeah, probably in an hour. And then around like 3 or 4 hours after that, I'd have to stop because I've got people coming over to pick up some stuff. So I will not be able to be on stream at that point. Okay, yeah, so let's get rid of all this stuff. And delete. Nice. And then I don't need this thing anymore. Don't save. And then this, save, we're all good. How is working with the GDScript analyzer? Yeah, it's all working. You coming back into it. We got I'm just removing it all now, but we actually had working the GDScript code was able to recognize a visual script type as a valid identifier and export it as, you know, if it's a resource. You could accurately do type checks with it. You could do static typing. Working on the analyzer. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we got the GDScript analyzer all going. Like everything was going well with the visual script. I mean, there were some issues with compatibility in general with GDScript interacting with other languages, and that stuff we'll have to figure out during the beta. But the stuff I wanted to fix, which was making sure that the exports for global script classes defined in other languages, like that aspect of it works, and you can export them, and you can see their properties, and you can do static type checks, and you can get the auto completion and everything. So even if it's not a GDScript. So okay, so that's all good here, and yeah, I think I'll probably close off the stream with that. I'll start up again in a little bit, as I mentioned, in around maybe an hour, hour and a half ish, after I get something to eat for dinner and feed all the doggos. And yeah, then I'll be back on. Yeah, nice to see you, Cupid. Yeah, and I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow, I would guess. I would think so anyway. So we'll see how things progress. I'll see you guys.